Experience a whole new driving sensation in a super SUV that combines both style and functionality. Enjoy delightful dishes in an open kitchen whilst interacting closely with the chef. Admire valuable vintage timepieces and stay updated with the latest news in the second-hand watch market.
In a bustling city like Hong Kong, life moves so fast. So having a car that can conveniently move people and stuff around can be a real blessing. And I know all this talk about efficiency can be tedious and boring, but it doesn't have to be if you do it in style in a super SUV. SUVs are currently very popular in the auto market, and even brands that usually specialize in producing supercars have started to invest in this area. Hello, Gary.
Hi there.
Now, I'm curious, your brand has always been known for producing supercars. So where did this idea come from to produce SUVs?
Actually, back in the time, like 1986, our brand, they introduced the very first sport utility vehicle. At that time, actually, nobody used the terms SUV at that time. The focus of this vehicle is it is very high utility vehicle, which can handle all kinds of road conditions, when there's snow or sand or desert. And we also put in a supercar performance engine inside the hardware as the power plant.
So these super SUVs have been very popular, but what do you think is the biggest draw for the consumers?
I think because as super SUV, it's like one vehicle with the multi-personality. Let's say some of our customers, they like to have a morning drive in the morning, and they would have to go home and pick up the kids and families, and then in the afternoon, maybe they have to go to shopping, so they need a lot of luggage space. With a super SUV, one vehicle can do all the tasks, so they don't have to go home and change car and then, let's say if they have to go to the ball at the evening, they don't have to change a fancy car. So one car can fit all the needs of our customers.
But more specifically, for Hong Kong, why do you think it's suitable for the driving environment?
Well, as you know, most of the roads in Hong Kong are quite narrow, and there are a lot of the up and downhill, and also there are certain kinds of like unexpected weather. So let's say if there's a typhoon and heavy rain, I think super SUV is the best car to handle all the conditions in Hong Kong. And let's say the super SUV is a kind of a vehicle designed for people who like to share the supercar performance with your friends and family, because most of the supercars in the market, they are only two-seater, but now you can put like 3 or 4 more people in this car together with you.
Yeah, and enjoy it in comfort as well.
Correct.
Yeah. Now, speaking of performance, I know the latest super SUV, before it's even sort of properly launched, has already broken a Huhan record. Is that correct?
That's true, because before the official launch, the CEO of our brand, he brings his whole engineering team to the Colorado Rocky Mountain, and there was a trial over there. The overall length for the trial is only like 19 kilometers, but there are like 156 turns along the route, and the catching point is, the finish point is like 4,300 meters above the sea level. So it took only like 10 minutes and 32 seconds for them to finish the route. And actually this record is like 17 seconds faster than the previous record is set in 2018.
Wow, 17 seconds is actually a lot, right?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. Now, that sounds absolutely amazing. Can I try?
Sure, my pleasure. So let's go.
All right, let's go. Now, looking at this latest version of the Super SUV, already I can tell it's a little bit different, but I know your previous versions are already top performance. So how do you guys ensure this is even better?
Well, let me share with you a little bit what I know. Well, first of all, they try to reduce the weight as much as possible. The second thing is they try to tune up all the different parts, so it's better driving experience. And last but not least, of course, is the horsepower. They increase significantly. Let's start with the visual one. You can see the main difference is the front bonnet. Now it's a completely new design, and it's carbon fiber. This part is a visible carbon fiber, and even this part on the side is also carbon fiber. They just have body paint over it. So the entire front bonnet and some of the side panels are also carbon fiber. And then if you look at the front air intake, it's a newly designed. It doesn't only help to draw in fresh air to the engine bay to cool down, and also helping to cool down the braking system, so it will become more effective. And the other thing is you can see 2 newly designed air output. You can feel that the heat is coming out from here, so it's also helping the engine bay to cool down the temperature.
But you know, as car fans, we love to get down and dirty with the statistics. I mean, how much faster is it? How much better is it?
Yep. Let me tell you about it. Let's say the horsepower now is a 666 CV, and then from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, it only takes like 3.3 seconds. It's like 0.3 seconds faster than the previous models. And then the top speed can go up to 306 kilometers per hour. And then let's say the car itself, because of the new suspension system, the overall width has been expanded to 16 millimeters, and the overall height has all been lowered by the 20 millimeters. So the overall, that we call the aspect ratio, has been increased from 152 to 155%.
Does it help with the cornering or anything like that?
It helps a lot because the center of gravity is much lower, and also the steering is much stiffer. So it's better to have a direct road feeling.
Now, it sounds like you've really squeezed every drop of potential from this model, right?
Yep, they've done a good job.
So what are you hoping to achieve for the driver as well as the passenger?
Well, I think most of the customers who like this car is maybe in the past they have a lot of supercars experience, but they can only carry one passenger on the side. Now with the back seat, so they can carry their friends and family. And the best part is, let's say if they want to go to shopping, they can put a lot of things inside. And let's say if your wife just call you, oh, maybe can you pick me up in the airport? You can carry like 3 big luggages at the trunk.
Fantastic. So it sounds like this car has looks, it's practical, and it's definitely fast.
Yep.
Now, can I try it?
Sure, and you can feel the carbon fiber and some of the new features inside as well.
Fantastic. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
So the first thing that I've noticed when I sit in this car is how spacious it is. I mean, I'm sitting here, I've got my elbows out, and there is still plenty of space. And the second thing I noticed is they've used this sort of sports car fireproof material. And of course, there are bits of carbon fiber everywhere. Very heavy elements of supercars. And then you move on to the main console in the middle, and it looks just like a plane, in fact. And you can choose 4 different driving modes, so you can experience the car in all types of different situations. This super SUV is practical but luxurious at the same time. It is big and spacious, yet it has the performance of a supercar. And in terms of looks, I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. What's not to love about it?
Christian, I'm always super excited to eat with you. What's the surprise today?
I'm very super excited too because I want to be surprised too.
So why'd you decide to bring me here?
So this restaurant is actually quite famous for changing its menu often so that the clients can have the freshest and most seasonal ingredients.
Ooh, and I see it's an open kitchen plan, so we get to see the chef in action, and eat at the same time, and we get to chat with him too.
Yeah, let me introduce you, my good friend, Chef Leonard.
Hi, Chef Leonard.
Hello, good afternoon.
Chef.
Thank you both for
Wow.
joining us today. Well, we don't change the menu every week. Every month, we try to have at least half of the menu that are different. Sometimes we change dishes every week, sometimes we change it every month. It really depends what ingredients we can find in the market every morning. So that's why our food here is highly seasonal.
The appetizer prepared by Chef Leonard is inspired by his favorite flower, nasturtium. He blends nasturtium with green apples to create a sauce that is paired with hamachi and smoked pike roe, creating a tangy and spicy dish that is
That is fantastic.
It's very refreshing as well.
I had it with the sturgeon leaf and the trout roe. When you bite into it, just becomes ever so much more flavorful with the leaf. The leaf sort of gives that, it covers your mouth a little bit with a little bit more savoriness. And it makes it much more full-bodied.
And if you eat it on its own, it's like eating wasabi on its own. It's very powerful. It tears up your eyes. That's why we have to serve it with something aggressive like, you know, the smoked pike roe, the hamachi.
But the flour itself is much more mild than a leaf.
Yes,
right?
correct.
It's got a more refreshing flavor.
Well, besides using seasonal ingredients, the concept is also what I feel like at the time, what I feel like every morning. Sometimes we have some Japanese influence in the dishes. Sometimes we have American influences. Since most of my career was in the US, I was also born and raised in the US. So we have little subtle influences of American culture in every dish.
That Kimura salmon,
Just melted in my mouth.
right? It's very difficult to explain. You've just got to eat it. To tell somebody that it melts in your mouth, well, that's kind of what you expect from most cooked salmon belly in general. But this one literally disappears and like coats it with the rich and not overly fishy, not fishy at all, but just a rich glaze of salmon flavor in your mouth.
I just had it with a bite of the morel mushrooms, and it's like slightly crispy on the outside. Very nice texture. Try it together.
We get this question a lot, what is our cooking style? The truth is we don't have one because our menu changes so often. It's not defined by any style of cuisine. It's not French, it's not Italian, it's not Japanese. We just use whatever is highly seasonal and whatever comes to mind. All right, so this is the duck I showed you earlier. It spent 8 minutes in the oven and is now ready to serve. Whenever I go out to restaurants and I order duck breast, I just hate seeing that piece of artery underneath, along with the collagen, the silver skin. So I don't want my diners here to have that. I also hate having duck breast where there's more meat than skin. That's why I love creating the perfect ratio of skin to meat in every bite. So I'm carving off the parts that are perfectly edible, but people don't really care for.
I just want to say the duck is cooked perfectly. It's very tender, but yet still very juicy.
Yeah, Barbary duck is more like, it's kind of like the veal of duck. It's very pink, very neutral, not as gamey as other varieties of duck. Like my
And then
reds.
that Sichuan peppercorn that you put on, a little bit of like, I think there's like coriander seeds in there. It neutralizes the gaminess even more.
And I really like that touch of lavender honey glaze, right?
The lavender dried out a little bit. And it's just on your tongue a little. It's very spa-like. You kind of feel like, I'm having a bath.
Nice, nice.
This dessert is very unique in flavor because the chef uses savory ingredients here, such as Parmesan cheese and truffles. Along with chocolate cookies, hazelnuts, artichoke gelato, it creates a perfect balance of sweet and salty flavors.
It hits you straight with a little bit of chocolate first. And then it goes straight to the creaminess of the sunchoke. But then at the same time, you got that popping, the chocolate popping candy going on
Which
in your
makes it a
mouth.
bit more childish,
Yeah.
less fine dining.
Right when you swallow it, you've got that Parmesan cheese just coating your
Yeah,
mouth.
I'm really
Just
surprised
right
by
at the end
Yeah, how good the
to
Parmesan
say,
cheese
let's
works
do it
with
again, right? It's like it's saying, now
I
have
want
another
some more.
bite.
Yes.
The best
Very, very
desserts
right.
are always sprinkled with a little bit of fleur de sel on top.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
instead of using fleur de sel, we use Parmesan.
Oh, that's really unique and actually really delicious.
Yeah.
Every single dish that Chef Leonard prepared today is so good and so full of surprises.
Yeah, and the greatest thing about this meal is you eat it, you love it, you take your pictures, you have that experience, you talk with your friends, and then the very next week, if you want to come back and have the same dish, it may not be here anymore. And that makes it even more special.
Yeah, also very rare. I guess you just gotta come back more often and be surprised more often.
Cool, you book Tuesday, I'll book Wednesday.
Fine.
A watch can tell the time and also showcase your personality and style. Naturally, a lot of people go straight to the luxury stores to find a nice watch. But actually, there is another option to find your perfect watch, and they got some real gems there too. Luxury watches all over the world are produced in limited quantities to maintain brand image and value. And the upshot of that is many popular new models are sold at prices exceeding the retail price in the second-hand market, which makes them extremely valuable, not just from the point of view of a collector, but also in terms of return on investment. Hi Steph, so how well developed is the second-hand watch market in Hong Kong? Is it very active?
其實香港二手錶市場咧而家係十分之活躍㗎啦，香港競爭能力好大，始終香港係一個免稅嘅地方啦。
I see, so it is very active and the market is very competitive as well because Hong Kong is a tax-free place and it has a good reputation, so people feel very safe and they trust the products that they get, I see. But in Hong Kong, in the second-hand market, is there a lot of auctions going on? I mean, how much money is involved?
香港其實好多大型嘅拍賣會喺香港進行一啲奢侈品手錶嘅拍賣㗎。咁以其中一個為例啦，喺2022年咧，其實已經高達成5.4億嘅港紙㗎啦。
So even for just one auction house in Hong Kong in 2022, they've made 540 million from luxury watches. Wow, that's amazing. So how about globally? Is the second-hand watch market growing very fast?
二手錶嚟講咧，其實佢每年係大概5至10%，全新錶嚟講咧，其實只係2至5%嘅啫。咁對比起上嚟咧，其實二手錶嘅增長率係快過新錶嘅。
So globally, the second-hand watch market is actually growing faster at like a pretty good rate, like 5 to 10%, and the new watch market is only growing to about 2 to 5%, right? But why is that?
因為其實啦，新錶嗰個生產量咧，其實都真係有限啦。好多手錶咧已經會停咗產啦。錶迷啊或者收藏者啊，想揾翻呢一啲手錶，其實只能夠會喺二手市場嗰度揾得翻咯。
I see. So the main reason is because the new watches, they only come in limited quantities. So if you really want to get the ones that went before, the only place to get it is at the second-hand market. I see. Now I know a lot of people get into second-hand watches because they want to invest. So from that perspective, what kind of watches would you recommend?
如果投資角度嚟講嘅話，我會推薦呢一隻手錶嘅。嗱，首先啦，呢一隻手錶啦係呢一個品牌裏面最為受歡迎嘅一個系列地通啦。而呢隻綠色咧，亦都係佢特別為呢一隻手錶調配出嚟嘅綠色嚟嘅，喺其他錶面係唔會見到嘅。而且呢一隻手錶喺啱啱嘅時候咧，宣布咗停產。咁佢出產嘅年期咧，其實由17年到而家，只係短短幾年嘅啫。
I see. So you would recommend this watch in terms of investment because first of all, the quality. You got the 18-karat gold, and you got the iconic green for this particular brand, and this iconic design, the Daytona. And more importantly, is the rarity of it because they've stopped making these. And they are in limited quantities, they're rare to find, and so naturally the potential for value is very high.
另外咧，投資角度咧，我會介紹埋呢一款手錶啦。呢一款手錶咧，亦都係呢一個品牌裡面最具代表性嘅一款手錶嚟嘅。佢以精密嘅工藝聞名啦，而且咧亦都喺早2年嘅時候停咗產。呢款手錶咧，當年嘅新錶定價咧，其實只係20萬左右嘅啫。佢最高嘅時候嘅二手市場價格咧，係曾經過100萬嘅。
Oh wow, so another one that you would recommend for investing is this one because of the iconic design, obviously the quality of the build of the watch, its rarity, it's in limited quantities, and the investment potential because a new one is around 200,000 Hong Kong dollars, but it went up to over $1 million before, right, in the second-hand market. Wow, that's amazing. So from a collector's point of view, what sort of watch would you recommend?
如果係收藏嘅角度咧，咁不如介紹一隻有獨特性同埋紀念性價值嘅一隻錶啦。咁我會介紹呢一隻啦。咁其實呢一隻錶咧係同F1 賽車聯合推出嘅一隻手錶嚟嘅，全球咧只係限量500隻嘅啫。其實個錶圈咧亦都係模仿緊一個剎車碟嘅，而側邊咧佢個掣啦，呢個 start 嘅掣亦都係好似賽車裡面開啟引擎嗰個掣。
So for collectors, you would recommend this particular brand because it's made in conjunction with Formula One racing. The bezel is reminiscent of the brake disc. And the start button is a bit like the start button you use on the race cars to start the engine. Yeah, it's definitely one for motor enthusiasts. I find that a lot of people who are into sort of vintage cars, they also like vintage watches. Do you think there are sort of any parallels, similarities or differences in there? Why do you think people enjoy getting second-hand watches and vintage watches?
我覺得二手錶同埋古董車其實個性質有啲相似啦，但係其實都有好多嘢唔同嘅。始終啦，手錶個體積比較細啦，係容易啲收藏嘅。然後佢嘅零件亦都係相對比較容易配置得返。人其實而家對於一啲文化或者歷史越嚟越有追求啦，因為其實你透過喺手錶啊或者古董車裡面嘅設計咧，其實你係真係會睇到唔同時代嘅變遷啊，個潮流嘅轉變啊。
So what you're saying is, you know, vintage cars and second-hand watches, there are definitely differences and similarities. And in terms of differences, you know, you think the watches, the barrier of entry is lower because they're smaller, they're easier to collect, the parts are easier to find. You think both of those things, they hold historical and cultural value. And for nostalgic reasons, you know, they really tell you what that time period is like. And that's why a lot of people enjoy those things. Thank you.
Thank you.